right, welcome to Going the Distance, the Rocky series and Creed podcast. With me today, as always, is Katie and Kyle. How you doing this Sunday morning?
Fantastic. We have nice weather in Denver. Sunday morning, so I have my coffee. I'm good.
Awesome. Kyle, what's going on? We hear birds in the background. You want to explain to the audience what's going on there?
I'm on my deck right now. I'll just turn it around. This is my neighborhood view here.
Oh, very nice.
It's 38 Fahrenheit right now, so it's a little chilly, but I'm having a nice time. I got my coffee here and a sweater on and a jacket and doing good.
All right, awesome. I'm Sounds Coffee. I drank it before the start of the show, but it's in my system. Well, we don't have any emails from listeners. Again, behind the curtain here, we are recording a little bit. We're banking episodes. So essentially, we're banking episodes. So I'm not surprised we don't have emails because as of right now, this season hasn't been released yet at the time of this recording. So we've got a few episodes in the can, which is great. Again, with the schedule coming up, starting mid-May till mid-December, the show will be a little bit on a hiatus. So stand by for that, dear listeners. We haven't done the segment in a while, but there hasn't been much change in a while. Who's following us on Twitter, specifically in Kyle and Katie? Kyle, unfortunately, you haven't got any new followers on Twitter, and I feel bad about that. And Katie, you've got the other Greg is now following Katie.
I feel like we haven't gotten an email from the other Greg in a while.
It's been a while.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. His
bio says searcher, which is odd. And then you got a new podcast that's following you. A review Twitter, Hindsight Movie Reviews. This is, it is a podcast. It's called The Best Movie Podcast of the Past, the Present, and the Future, hosted by Rashini and That Cool Black Nerd.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, they're following you. So shout out to that podcast. I don't know if they listen to our show, but they're following you. So that's kind of cool.
Awesome.
But they said that they're the best movie podcast. We are theoretically a movie podcast. So I guess they're better than us. That's unfortunate for us, I guess. Good for them.
It sounds like a challenge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks to everyone that follows us. So follow us on Twitter. Join us on our Facebook page. Yeah, I guess it's official now. At the time of this recording, we've added new podcasts to the podcast feed. All the same shows that we have right now as far as the Rocky Minute, Slycast, and of course this one, Going the Distance. They're all still there, but people are going to be noticing new shows popping up on their feed from different podcasters. Bruce Willis podcast, which is called Where There's a Willis, There's a Way. Great title. They're great guys. We've also got I Must Break This podcast, and that's with the Dolph Lundgren podcast, Sean Malloy. He's been a guest on the Stallone Podcast Network movie review. And lastly, we have the Drunk Pod James Bond podcast. So we're really excited to have these guys on board. What this just basically means is basically the network's now called the Last of the Action Heroes Network. It's just kind of a meeting ground for all these different like-minded, both in the content, yes, but also the way these guys podcast is very similar to the way we podcast, very similar humor, analysis of the films. They don't take themselves seriously, but they're not so stupid you can't listen to them. It's a fine line, and I actually made sure that when I invited these guys to the network, they kind of had that same feel where they have their own personalities and everything, of course. They make fun of that which needs to be made fun of, but they also compliment that which is good, and they're very good at their job. I'm excited to have them on board. Yeah,
that's awesome. I'm excited too. I'm particularly, well, they're all awesome, I'm sure, but I'm a fan of Dolph.
Yeah, so it's really cool to have I Must Break This podcast. I love that name. Yeah. It's great stuff. Okay, so here we go. We're just going to roll right into the Creed film, if you can believe it. We're going to roll right into it. Okay, so we just finished off in the last review. Of course, Adonis wins the belt. He's the champion. Let's see what happens next.
Whoa. I mean, what you think? that's beautiful. Right? Yeah. We got to hurry up. I mean, she's about to get out the shower any second. Yo, Donnie, why'd you tell me about this before?
Right away, the scene is at a hotel, whatever hotel there in Vegas. A big, shiny diamond ring. Rocky sees it, of course. It's a beautiful diamond. He asks the question, hey, it's cool that you're going to be proposing to Bianca, but why didn't you tell me?
I thought it was kind of funny because it leads you to believe just in the first initial second or two that he's actually proposing. You see it from Rocky's point of view, but you don't know it's Rocky, so it could be Bianca. And then when Rocky's like, whoa, to me, it's slightly funny because it's almost like he's kind of proposing to Rocky for a second. He's like, they're making it official.
They're making it official.
Yo, Rock, what do you do for the next 20, 30 years? Would you
be my dad?
Yeah, would you mind being my manager too much? What I actually found interesting too was we're to get into a little bit of what I like what's coming up, if I remember correctly, is we get a little bit of a callback to earlier Rocky moment, the dialogue that's coming up here. But interesting, when we talk about that, what we talk about now is when Rocky proposed to Adrian, he didn't have a fancy ring. He didn't have nothing. He just proposed verbally, of course, at the zoo. But interesting contrast that Adonis is already in his life. It's successful. He's now the champion. Rocky proposed to Adrian before he was champion. A little bit different there. Not that that lessens Adonis's proposal, but it just shows you again that Adrian truly just married Rocky at that time for him. It was actually off a loss of a boxing match, if you think about it.
Do you think Adonis would have proposed had he lost that fight to Wheeler?
He wouldn't have, I don't think.
That's beautiful. Right? Yeah. We gotta hurry up. I mean, she's about to get out the shower any second. Yo, Donnie, why'd you tell me about this before? I mean, I didn't know if I was gonna win. Well, what's that got to do with it? I don't know. Look, just tell me what I should do.
I think he wanted to do one victory at a time. He was like, I'm going to win this boxing match. I guess you could argue maybe whenever he decided that he was going to marry Bianca, it's a lot to take in for himself too, a lot for her. Maybe there would have been some sort of distraction. Maybe in his mind, win or lose, yeah, sure, but he wanted to make sure the boxing match was at least done before the proposal.
He may have still done it, but it just makes it that much more sweet for him.
He probably at this very moment would not be doing the proposal. He'd probably have to recover from the loss first, for sure.
Yeah.
Had he lost, or had he won, but it was a brutal fight, like the ones his dad had, where you couldn't wipe yourself after?
Mm-hmm.
That's how you know if she's the one, if she's willing to do that, right? If
that
she's
would be
like, no way.
Good Instagram post.
Yeah, exactly.
We're engaged. I'm helping him wipe his ass.
I mean, I didn't know if I was gonna win. Well, what's that got to do with it? I don't know. Look, just tell me what I should do. Get down on one knee. People still do that shit? You can always send her a text. Come on, Uncle, being serious, all right? Well, I mean, what did you say? To Adrian? Yeah. It was a long time ago. We were at the zoo. This winter was snowing. Mm-hmm. Everything smelled fresh. There was this tiger. He had snow on its back. And he's walking in the background. Okay, I get it. Just tell me what you said. Well, I was getting to that point. What I said is that I asked her if she would not mind marrying me very much, which is kind of a dumb way of saying she's my world. And she made me better than I deserve to be, you know? Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Aww. It was really sweet. I loved it.
I'll just wave to a neighbor walking by. That's funny. They're probably like, what is he doing? He's like, yeah, I just spent the night outside. My wife minded marrying me too much, so I spent the night outside.
I want to bring up, too, that this is kind of a good scene to have for those who think that the Creed films and the Rocky films are just boxing movies. Him talk about her being his whole world and makes him a better person and stuff. I think that's a nice way to include maybe your either female audience or people who think it's just a boxing movie.
It's a very tender moment.
Yeah. It's quite emotional for a sports film, so-called sports film.
Mm-hmm.
That's the debate that kind of rages on, especially with the first film. I mean, we know the third and fourth film get a little bit, I won't say silly, but they get a little bit kind of over the top and 80s action feel to them almost, but still fun movies. But the drama is definitely brought back with parts, well, even part 5, 6, and then the Creed films, the drama comes back. Yeah, it's a really tender moment. I remember when I saw that in the theater again, that line about the callback to the zoo, of course, the geek in me. And this is Sly's writing, obviously, wanting, and of course it was intentional because he wrote it, but I wonder if there was a little bit of bringing back that Rocky lore, really sucking in the Rocky fans, saying, hey, remember Rocky 2? And I proposed to the zoo, and there's a tiger. And he even said there was snow in the tiger's back. And that's interesting that he brought that up because every time I watch that scene, I always think that poor tiger has snow on his back. And I guess there are tigers that live in the snow, so it's not really terrible, but big white tigers, are there snow Bengals out there, or...
Yeah, I don't think that was like a Siberian tiger.
No, that was a Bengal
orange
tiger.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't like zoos now. Here in Edmonton, there's an elephant at the zoo that a lot of groups are trying to get out of there because Edmonton's not suited for elephants. This elephant's alone and it's often cold. It's been here since like 1979.
Oh no.
It's too weak or like not able to be moved somewhere warmer, so it's like stuck here forever. It's super sad. So I never visit the zoo here anymore.
Yeah.
Well, you guys should come here. We have it's called the Wild Animal Sanctuary. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. I don't know how many thousands of acres, and it's rescued large carnivores, tigers and lions and bears and wolves and like those kind of animals. And so they have huge enclosures where they can run around wild, and you can visit. They're not in cages. You can visit, but it's on a elevated walkway. So you're like way up high so that you're not bothering them. It's pretty cool. So you guys should come to Denver. And listeners, check out the Wild Animal Sanctuary.
We should just show up at her house. Be like, "Do you have the guest room prepared?"
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you have a guest
You guys
room?
would have to share it. Yeah, you guys would have to share it.
Oh, that's
or somebody
okay.
could have the couch. Somebody could have the couch, I guess.
What was that scene from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles?
Yeah. Those aren't pillows.
That'd be fun. Speaking of zoos, not to get too far off topic, but yeah, it's funny as I've gotten older and understand the world more, and just I have a hard time seeing animals in cages now. All the arguments about protecting them or whatever, well, just let nature be nature. They're gonna, if man just left them alone out in the world, then we wouldn't need zoos to protect them from the world. Yeah, I don't know. What do I know?
Yep.
Just stop killing things. Everyone just stop being a jerk. I don't know. Why is it so hard to just not be a jerk? Anyways.
Some people, they just hate for no reason. Capiche?
Oh, yeah. Good point. Good callback.
But then they deserve to be, Yeah. Listen, why don't you just turn off your brain and let your heart do the talking? You'll do good.
A little bit of Adrian's theme playing in the background. Piano.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. I'm on it.
Hey, you good?
Yeah, real good. Thank you. Great.
All right.
Adonis recognizing that bringing up Adrian's obviously bringing back a flood of emotions and memories for him. But I think Rocky's generally happy for Adonis' journey.
For sure. It's sad, though. I'm glad that they don't reintroduce a new love interest, because I don't think I would like that. But it still pains me to see him alone. He walks off into the hallway alone, and he is happy for Adonis, but I think now he's really sad, too.
To me, it just reminds me of Mickey a bit, because Mickey was alone. We don't know much about him. We don't know if Mickey ever had a love interest or anything. He could have always have been alone and liked it that way.
I think we're led to believe he didn't really, because he had no patience for the relationship stuff.
Yeah, what's with this domestic stuff, right?
Let her train you. I think we're led to believe that Mickey was a bit of a bachelor his whole life. Maybe in his glory days he had a girl. That would, again, the Mickey prequel would show us that stuff. That's what we need to see.
There has to be a Mickey prequel. It would be great.
Hey, Sly, are you listening?
Right.
Are you listening, Sly?
No.
No, shut up.
No, he's not listening. I think there is a fan fiction, legit script of a Mickey prequel. I think I've heard that. I don't think it's like a miniseries type length, but there is a Mickey prequel.
I'm sure there is, but I don't want it if Sly didn't write it.
Fair.
So Mickey was born, depending on what movie you do, either
30s?
1900 or like 19... He says he's 76 years old in the first Rocky movie.
Oh, that's right.
No, he says he's 69.
No, I think
Doesn't
it's 76.
In the first one.
Then you see his grave marker in Rocky 3, and it says he's born like 1908. So it depends. It's like one of those Rocky details. But I'm pretty sure he says 76.
I thought so too. And then for some reason, I have it in my head that he said 69 or 60.
You're right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he says, I'm 67 years old.
Or something like that. And
yeah.
We got to check this out, because I'm pretty sure it's 76.
According to Mickey Goldmill's stats, he was born in 1905.
So
I think it says that on his grave marker in the third movie.
Yeah.
Right? But there's a continuity error. I don't think he says that in the first film. I could be wrong.
So that's 71. It's set in 1975.
Right. So he was born in...
Maybe 70.
Well, depending on when his birthday is.
It's weird that I'm thinking his age, because I always love the part where he mumbles at his age at the door.
Somewhere it says 69, but I have 70. Like, I think he says later 76.
Yeah, I think it is.
You just have 69 on the brain, KD. So it's
maybe.
So Mickey would have been fighting around the Spanish flu pandemic. Now that we have this pandemic, there could be kind of a theme you can exploit there.
That's awesome.
Especially if he was 76 in 1975, if he was born closer to 1900, then he would have started fighting around 1919, which is the Spanish flu pandemic. So he might have had a mask on in the film. And so now you can film, okay, because everyone has masks anyways. And
there you go. Get on that, Kyle.
You got to strike now, movie people. Anyone listening? I'll take my 1% finder's fee or idea fee, or maybe 10%. We'll go with 10. Yeah, let's make it happen.
Here we go. I've got the scene here. I don't know if you guys can see it. Let me just share it with you guys. Because he goes up to the bathroom door and he mumbles right here.
Right? 10 years ago, you never helped me. You didn't care.
Well, if you wanted help. I say, if you wanted help, why didn't you ask? Why didn't you just ask me, kid?
Look, I asked, but you never heard nothing.
Well, I know I'm 76 years old.
Oh, okay. Whoa.
So it is a continuity error because, like, if you look him up, it says that he's 69, but you're right, Kyle. He says 76.
So he's 69 in real life, Burgess Meredith, at the time of this film. That's the confusion because I remember when Sly did Creed, he was the same age as Burgess Meredith was in real life that he was for Rocky 1. I remember thinking, boy, look at the difference between the two actors of their physical fitness. So Burgess Meredith was actually 69, I believe, during the filming of Rocky. But he said his age was 76, which doesn't make sense because if he's 76 in 1975, that would mean he was born in 1899?
Yes. In late 1975, he tells Rocky that he's 76 years old, which would have meant he was born in either 1898 or 1899. However, his memorial plaque says he was born in 1905.
Why?
Yeah.
Why is this so hard for these guys to keep?
I know. Do some math, guys. Come on.
Because they made it clear this fight was taking place in the bicentennial. That was that was the whole thing. So we know that the Rocky universe, Rocky, the first film, was 1975. End of the day, this fight took place, the Great Bicentennial Fight. Blah, 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 blah. So that was important. So why didn't Mickey know his own age?
On his memorial, it says that he was born in April 7th, 1905, died August 15th, 1981, aged 76. So he's also aged 76 in Rocky 3.
Oh, no. Why is that so hard?
I don't know how this is known, that he weighs 155 pounds. He looks like he weighs less than that, but anyway.
So what they've done here, if they could have retconned that dialogue post-production, they would have changed it to 69 in that scene because they retconned his correct age for the Rocky 3 film.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey. We have another situation here where the character has de-aged. Adonis de-aged from Creed to Creed 2, and we've got Mickey de-aging from Rocky 1 to 3. That's pretty cool. The Rocky universe timeline space-time continuum is I would just love to see some sort of somebody who is much more talented and smarter than me, which is not hard. Do a graph of this is what we're led to believe happened in the film for timeline, but this is the actual real timeline.
Challenge accepted. I got to do that. I have a big piece of paper downstairs. I'm going to draw this shit out.
Oh, that'd be amazing to see. Because for example, Rocky 4 to 5, and the age of the children versus the age of the film versus because you have age that the children are apparently in the film, ages that people said they were in the film to some degree, when the film took place versus when the film took place in the real world versus when the film took place in the Rocky universe, and then another line showing the actual actors' ages during their portrayals of the ages in the films.
That's a lot.
We could have done it had we decided to do this during the breakdown at the very beginning, just make notes of this is the age of Sly, this is the age of Rocky, this is when it took place. Kind of have to go back from the beginning to start that. But it's a project that I'm surprised hasn't been done yet.
This is the perfect way for me to do my 90s Sunday.
If you did that,
there you go.
That'd be amazing. You put that on some sort of like computer image graph or whatever, it would be an amazing piece of.
You're probably an Excel guru, so you could do some fanciness in Excel.
I'll probably do it by hand just because it's funner. And take a picture of it, but maybe I'll transfer to Excel later.
So Adonis is down a big glass of wine to get that liquid courage. Oh, now he's drinking
out of the bottle.
Yeah, I guess it's probably champagne. Practicing proposing on one knee. Like, how's that feel? Try that knee.
I have a personal story I wouldn't mind sharing.
Oh, of course.
When I was getting ready to propose to my now wife, I was also nervous about doing it, and I did the on the one knee thing, and I was trying to practice, and it felt weird. I'm like, I got to practice to another person. It felt too weird doing it in the mirror, so I just got my dog to sit there.
Oh my God, I love that!
And I proposed to my dog like 6 times just to get all the kinks worked out. So yeah, practicing is a real thing, people.
Do you do one knee, Ryan?
I'm a terrible romantic. I have a lot of great qualities, but when it comes to being a romantic, I'm terrible.
Did you say, would you mind marrying me too much?
No, I almost did. It was kind of just, we should get married type thing. It was a natural flow of conversations that led to the marriage. It wasn't nothing romantic.
It was the baby's on the way. We better do something about this.
Yeah. Shotgun weddings, both of them. Yeah. No. So I admit I'm not a romantic. It's just not my blood. It's more of just a natural progression of conversations led to the engagements. Yeah. I guess I'm too afraid of the answer being no. So it's just like, I don't want to.
Let me feel this out first.
Yeah, pretty much. Now, this little sequence here, it's a little bit of like a Three's Company family sitcom situation because Bianca's walked out of the shower. She hasn't seen Adonis lying on the bed. He's trying to be all casual looking. She doesn't have her hearing aids in, so Adonis doesn't know this. So she's going about her activities, getting herself ready for the evening. Adonis is going to have a conversation with her. Her back's to him the whole time, so he thinks she's hearing this whole conversation. She's not. So she sees him, smiles. He smiles back.
I know we've been dating for a few years now, and it's just something about us that just clicked. I don't know how to explain it, but the feeling I get when you're by my side is a feeling that I can't live without. It's crazy, but look, I guess what I'm trying to say is...
Gets on one knee. Her back's to him.
Will you marry me?
Still hungry, babe. I don't know why.
Now she sees him. Slams the door on him. That's a fun little moment. I remember laughing in the theater when I saw that.
Yeah, because he has this confused look like, holy shit, she didn't hear any of that?
Yeah, this is great. Like, their chemistry's good here. I don't know. I'm more comfortable with these two now. Like, they seem more like a real couple for sure.
And he's also, I think, it's like a confused look too, because I think it's meant to show us and him that her hearing is progressively getting worse. He's surprised that she didn't hear any of it.
Didn't she just put in her hearing aid when she turned around?
Yes.
But you should be able to hear a little bit with your hearing, even without your hearing aid.
Yeah.
And she didn't.
Like, my dad has hearing aids, and he's getting older now. This could happen with my dad. When he was younger, he'd be able to hear a bit better. You just have to, like, talk like this all the time. And he wasn't doing that. It's
a combination of what Katie was saying, a combination of, yes, her telling the audience her hearing has really gone down. She really needs the hearing aids. Maybe Adonis didn't quite know how bad it was too. Who knows? But she's now been surprised seeing him on his knee. Of course, Bianca knows exactly why he's on his knee. She's surprised by it, and she panics and closes the door and says, like, "What are you doing?" What she missed was that, nice little thing that he was trying to do, that little Rockyism moment of, not in a bad way, but he's like trying to be a romantic talk, and we'll see how he fixes the situation here.
Will you marry me?
Still hungry, babe. I don't know why. You for real, D?
Yeah, I'm for real.
No, stop playing.
I ain't playing. You didn't hear any of that.
I know what?
She's got her hearing aid now in.
I know what, D? What'd you say?
Nothing that you don't already know.
Remind me.
You said that I need you.
D, do you know what you're doing right now?
I mean, yeah, kind of.
What do you mean, kinda? Babe.
I mean, to keep it real with you, B, you're the only person I want to share my moments with. Bianca Taylor, will you marry me?
Yo.
Yo? Is that a yes? Yes?
Yes. Yeah.
It was so sweet. I thought that was probably one of the best moments between the two of them. Their just facial expressions, they were teary-eyed. It was good. That was good acting, good chemistry. And yes, they are about to go into a love scene that's good. Like, it's not a weird, awkward one like the first one. It's a good love scene.
There was kind of an echo to the first film. When she slammed the door on him and they were talking through the door, it reminds me when they were fighting and talking through the door before, and she took her hearing aids off. And this time she closes the door and puts her hearing aids on. So it's kind of like a reverse of that scene. Mm-hmm. And it obviously goes much better.
There you go. Good catch.
Good one, Kyle. Yeah.
They're very happy, and they're about to have an engagement coitus.
It was a really pretty ring, too.
Do you like that ring?
It's very pretty, yes. I know I made fun of her in the first one, but she does it a lot in this movie, too, with her hands on his face. She does it a lot, and it bugs me for some reasons. Every time I see it, I'm like, that bothers me.
That's funny. I forgot that you brought that up.
All future suitors of Katie, don't touch her face too much.
Don't expect her to touch your face.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to,
grab her.
If that's what you're into is face touching, Katie's not your person.
That's right. I remember when they showed this in the movie theater, I was like, I actually was wondering how far they're going to go. Like, what are they going to show here?
It is much more risque than Rocky.
Yeah.
Is this her singing this song in the background?
No, I don't think so. No. Because that sounded like a real song.
I mean, but she is a singer, Tessa Thompson.
Is she a singer, though?
She is. And she's on the soundtrack. I don't know if this is her song or not.
Ooh, look at this next scene. You go from the luxury and glitz of Las Vegas, where you're banging after a successful engagement, to the bleak, some sort of shipping yard or some sort of construction site for in Ukraine.
Yeah, so we're back in the Ukraine, and I love how the tinted hue is like this blue-gray contrast. Is just so dreary. Even though it's daylight outside, like it might be like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, it still kind of feels dark. And I love how it's a warehouse of bricks, because in Ukraine, we only use bricks for everything. Bricks are in our food, bricks are our houses, bricks are our clothes.
Cinder blocks.
Yeah, cinder blocks. Yeah, it's like everything's brick gray. So we got Victor Drago piling on pallets at this brick or cinder block factory. And he's been called by his foreman, I guess. He says, when you're done, unload the cement. We're seeing a definite contrast to the life of Victor's life. He's about the same age as Adonis, but they have two very different days right now are happening.
It reminds me of Rocky 3, where Rocky's he's the champ, and he's in luxury, and he's kind of maybe getting soft, and then his opponent is up and coming, and he's hard, and it seems to just be the natural circle of life in the boxing world, at least in this film.
The challenge is always coming from the streets, tougher than the champion. Maybe that probably happens in sports more times than not, that the champion gets soft, where the opponents or the contenders coming up are tough and hungry. Yeah,
they have the eye of the tiger.
Absolutely. A little time has passed, and we're seeing Victor walking into the ring. Another boxing match, another local independent boxing event.
I love the shots. Every time they show Victor entering the ring, the camera's from behind to showcase his enormousness. He's just like a beast.
A hulking figure of sorts.
Yeah.
So again, we see a quick little... I mean, of course, the fight lasted longer than 3 seconds, but I think we're just led to believe whatever challengers seem to be going up against Victor, he's just mowing down like fodder. He kind of walks away like, ugh, this is almost boring. But he's almost insulted that he's fighting these guys.
That's a good point, Ryan.
He's indignant at the fact that he has to go through these ranks. He knows he's very capable of taking the championship. And it's he's probably under a lot of pressure, too, from his dad. And he knows that, he's living hand to mouth, and he's forced to work like a job in order to pay the bills and stuff. And yeah, I'd be impatient, too.
Okay, so they're walking out of... I wonder what that Russian lettering is there.
It looks like a school or something. Like it does. It's not like a big arena or anything.
Or an old movie theater almost.
Yeah.
That first letter almost looks like the number 6. I don't know.
I do not know.
Yeah, I'd be interested in knowing what that says. It might just be the building's name.
I've been explaining it, but my mic was off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I had a Ukrainian roommate that taught me the Russian alphabet.
Okay.
So I can't speak Russian, but I could read that. That's a B in Russian.
Okay.
And it says boxerina.
Oh, it is, I guess. It's just small.
Their capital B actually makes a V sound. It's really confusing. They have a lot of letters that look like ours, but don't sound like ours. Their H sounds like an N. Like a backwards N makes an E sound. And yeah, but that says box arena. So that's a boxing arena.
Nice.
Thanks, Kyle.
It actually is the boxing arena. Great. So we got Yvonne and Victor walking out, father and son walking out of the boxing arena. And the promoter is waiting there for them. The guy that's come from the States, the boxing promoter. The guy's name is Russell Hornsby. And I knew he looked very familiar. He was on a TV show that actually my wife and I watched, but got canceled after one season. And I was like, why did I see this guy recently? Like, oh yeah. It was a show called Proven Innocent, which I quite enjoyed, but it was only one season. It got canceled. But he was a regular on a big show that was on for like 6 years. That was called Grimm. I don't know if you ever heard of that show.
I haven't seen either of those shows, but Russell Hornsby has been around for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
He just he's never like really broke through as like a big name, but I've seen him in a lot of things too.
Yeah, he's been in a lot of
through the years.
Those are to be on a series regular on a 6-season show that's a good gig. So he's definitely been successful, and he does have the main acting role in an upcoming TV series based on the books, the Bone Collector books.
Oh.
So he landed that role. So he's got the main role in that.
I wonder if his role in Creed 2 helped him get it.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, because he does great here.
Yeah.
He's not really a sleazy boxing promoter, but they always kind of portray...
He's a little slick.
Slick's the word, yeah. So he's waiting for the Dragos to come out, so he's about to have a conversation.
Our boy's looking good. I'm sure you heard the good news. It's time.
It seems like they've already been in conversation.
We just weren't shown that, I don't think.
Off screen, they've had conversations because the boxing promoter and Buddy Marcel. So he's already been in conversation with Yvonne.
The Dragos.
Yeah. Our boy's looking good.
That might explain why he's so impatient, too, because he's just waiting for Adonis to become champion.
Victor knows about this already, I guess. Yeah, good point. Because he says, I guess you heard the good news, referring to the fact that, hey, because we talked about it in the last episode where Marcel obviously wanted Adonis to win. That was what he needed. He needed Adonis to win that match because having Victor fight the losing contender of the heavyweight is not really much of a ticket. So he goes, oh, you've heard the good news. Adonis is champion. So now we have an end to the going to the States and offering a champion. The storyline's in place for these guys now to redeem themselves.
Well, I can understand Yvonne speaks English well enough. It seems like Victor also speaks English because he speaks to Adonis later, but it just seems unlikely that he would have an opportunity to speak English, I guess. Learn English.
Yeah, I don't know Russian or Ukrainian people. I would assume they don't. I know they consume a lot of American movies and stuff.
I could see Victor being able to speak English. The guy I knew from Ukraine, his English was pretty good. Post-Soviet Union, they learned English in school.
Oh, okay. I don't know why I was equating their really rough living situation to not knowing. I don't know why. Anyway.
No, that's fair. I don't know. It's a big country. I would assume there's a lot of people that don't speak English. But because the next scene, we're going to have to wait for the next episode. Because the next scene, I believe, coming up or pretty close is when the Dragos visit the diner. So we want to save that for the next, The thing I love about Creed 2, it picks up right away. There's lots happening. Scene after scene, this stuff is happening. Yeah, so there you go. That is episode 4 of season 8. Hit us up on our emails, guys. gtdwithrr@gmail.com. Find us on Facebook, Going the Distance. Follow us on Twitter. Oh, yeah, if you want to be a patron supporter, obviously the content is going to be down a little bit for the rest of the year. But what you're doing is it's like a busking situation. You're just throwing a couple dollars, particularly my way, for all the editing and paying for the feed and all that stuff and all the really hundreds of hours of entertainment now everyone's going to be getting on the feed. It's quite a bit. It's quite a bit. So we appreciate it. Who dinged us out last time?
That was me. So it's Katie's turn.
Katie, you ready?
Ding, ding.
Nice.
Let's go there.